Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 4J's show here at Utica TV. I'm your host, James Brown, and today we've got a lot of topics to discuss. But before we get there, let's go around the table and introduce ourselves, starting with my good friend to my right.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy Horowitz, only 3 J's today, but doesn't change the fact that James Brown is very handsome. Honored to be sitting even closer to him today.
Jack Rathburn again, 3 J's. We're missing one. He's all right as far as we know. Nah, he's good. He's good. He just couldn't make it today. I do want to say my big apology. I'm sorry. I forgot my polo, so I'm wearing a Utica TV, repping the boys. Don't usually rep. Do have a lot of good topics, a lot of big things happening in the Utica area. Let's get started.
You still look nice.
You do look nice.
I appreciate that. It's kind of a nice polo. It's a good
too.
one. It's
Yeah,
a little.
I like the gray.
Yeah, no, it's nice.
But it was a long spring break. Unfortunately, no Justin Notar with us today. But to get the show on the road, men's hockey is still dancing as they took down Fitchburg State 5-1 this past weekend. Let's talk a little bit more about how they got that win. So 5-1 the score. Jack, talk to me a little bit about how that game went.
Yeah, it's kind of not the worst first round for Utica. When you and I were talking about that before we started the cameras. Fitchburg State 15-13-1, so not like the toughest opponent for them to go against. Utica, obviously one of the best teams in the country. Matt Will was able to net two. Kind of able to get everybody involved. A couple of guys had big games, and then obviously in the net you got Piros against a team that's not the best at scoring, the best offensively. So definitely not the hardest for them to start. Jeremy, I know you've been kind of following Utica hockey. How do you feel about that game? How do you feel about them going forward?
Well, looking at the bracket we just saw as it came up on the screen, I think it's nice to see both Geneseo and Hobart on the complete opposite side. So the only way Utica would run into those two teams would be if it's in the championship, and they can't play both of them. They lost to Hobart last year and went 1-3 against Geneseo this year. They got smoked out on March 8th in the UCHC championship game. Lost that game 7-3. Jack, as you mentioned, a good matchup last weekend up against Fitchburg State now, against St. Norbert College. I think, if it's not Geneseo, they can beat them. They've proven that all year. But this is a St. Norbert team that we learned a little bit about in our sports meeting with Jordan. They have like the winningest coach in D3 history. They have 5 national championships, something like that. But I mean, this is a Utica program that is on the up and up every single year, it feels like. And I mean, again, I say it all the time, whenever you have Gary Heenan at the helm, you have a shot. And I think Ryan Piros between the pipes is a really big advantage that the Pioneers have over a lot of other teams in the bracket.
Yeah, I feel like the offenses came alive too. They scored 5 goals this past weekend. 3 goals versus Geneseo in the loss, and then 5 goals, versus I believe Chatham in the or 9 goals in that game. Yeah, that was a crazy game. But I feel like the offenses really came alive, and I think that's where they're gonna have a lot of success if they want to win. I think what it comes down to in hockey is the team. As much as goaltending is really important, I think the team that can score more and keep the other team on their toes and force them to have to play from behind is the team that's gonna have more success, especially the way Utica plays.
Well, the offense is kind of the only thing that you've really got I don't even want to say questions about, but obviously we're talking really highly about Ryan Piros. We have been for the last couple of weeks since he transferred in. You've obviously got Brian Scoville, a couple of other good defenders, and a couple of different lines. Your defense is really solid, so you're not letting up a whole ton of goals. He's going to kind of come up to the offense to be able to change that score.
Absolutely.
And it's a St. Norbert team. It's from Wisconsin, so that's a really far trip. So maybe some jet lag, some fatigue, and coming all the way to Utica. I don't think they've ever been to Utica before. They're probably going to get a little bit of a warm welcome by our guy Ray Biggs. He'll, show them the lay of the land. And, I mean, hopefully for our Pioneers, we'll get into the picks a little later, but hopefully for our Pioneers, they come out and continue to play good offensively and dominate every third of the ice and find a way to just win little things and stay out of the penalty box. And beating a team from Des Peres, Wisconsin, which is a residential community near Green Bay. Shout out my guy Aaron Rodgers. I think we have a great matchup on our hands, but I'm excited to see these two teams clash on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little later on. We had another team that played in the postseason. After a very successful 2025 campaign, men's basketball season came to a close when they lost 79-57 to Montclair in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Let's talk about some key factors in that game and talk about what they might be planning to work on heading into next season. So, talking about that game, a 20-point loss, but it wasn't as big of a loss as it might have seemed if you looked at the final box score. Heading into the second half, Pioneers held a 1-point lead. It was 34-33 at one point in that game. And with 10 minutes left, they were only down 8. So they were right in it. It was still a double-digit game. And then later on, it really was just the turnovers and missed shots. I mean, this is a Pioneer team that shot 4 for 21 from beyond the arc in this game, 19%, and that's a season worst for them. And 1 for 11 in the second half. That just can't happen if you want to win in the postseason.
Yeah, something I think that's different about college sports, especially, is with the conferences. You don't get kind of a good view, like a good perception, I guess, of the grand scheme. You kind of see like there's levels to like how good teams can be. We saw it with Utica hockey for the past couple of years. They've been really good in their own UCHC conference, and they got into the NCAA tournament. Kind of things are different. Maybe not as much success, and then slowly they've kind of been able to continue their success and have a little bit more success in the NCAA tournament. I think it's going to kind of be the same story, hopefully, for basketball. They've been able to be pretty successful with the Empire 8, but then it's just struggling in that NCAA tournament. So I think this is a necessary step. Obviously, it's not fun when it's happening, but I think it's a necessary step to having more success in the NCAA tournament and getting better as a team, and for Coach Coffey as a coach.
Yeah, I agree with that, absolutely. I mean, the NCAA tournament last year had to play Trinity, which was one of the best teams in the country. It was like a 2 or 3 loss team last year. And they had to play a Montclair State team who's tough. They played really tough perimeter defense as to why the Pioneers shot so tough. And they're a team that likes to score in transition. They're a team that plays quick, plays fast. And I think that was just a little too much for Coach Coffey's squad. There was no team in the Empire that really played that fast. I mean, you could argue Poly, but this was a team that kind of caught them by surprise a little bit, I want to say. But they did hold Montclair to 28% from 3 and forced 12 turnovers. So their defense was still there. It's just they had a bad shooting day. So I'm still confident in this team, heading into the future. They're bringing back a lot of key pieces. They got the 2 freshmen, Kane and Smith, both coming back with a year under their belt. So I'm still confident. I feel like it was just a bad shooting day for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing that jumps out to me in the box score is Dayon only had 5 points, went 1 for 10 from the field, and 0 for 5 from 3. I mean, when your point guard isn't scoring, when he's not putting the ball in the basket, I mean, it's really tough to win. And JB, I think you hit it nail on the head. The defense was fine. I think they really did what they should have done, holding Montclair State to a low 3-point percentage on the perimeter. But when your best player only is able to drop 5 points and your shooting guard goes 2 for 10 from the field and 1 for 5 from 3, it's going to be really, really tough to win. And, I mean, again, I think it's a big learning experience. Again, you're getting Dayon back next year. You're getting the 2 freshman guards back as well. It's a lot of good experience, like you said. And I think that's going to benefit them in the long run. But it's just a tough way to go out, especially when shots aren't falling, because I do agree. I don't think the final score really matched how the game necessarily went. You have games like that all the time where it looks like a blowout. It looks like really one-sided, but I don't think this game was like that. I think the Pioneers had runs in them, just weren't knocking down shots. They were getting good looks. They were, playing good defense, but shots just weren't falling, and that's one of the games where you don't want that to be the case. Unfortunately, that is the case for the Pioneers this time out. But Dayon Thompson in a game like this next year, he will not be going 1 for 10 and 0 for 5 from 3. And Jordan Kane, Isaiah Smith are going to take that extra step forward. And you're going to see a really big leap out of them in year 2, I think.
Looking forward to see how they can compete next year. 2 years in the NCAA tournament. I'm sure they wanted to make it a three-peat. So we'll see how Coach Sean Coffey's squad does heading into next season. As for teams that are currently playing in the spring, the baseball team went 4-3 in Florida. And our own Justin Notar pitched well, especially against Lakeland, going 2 1/3, racking up 2 strikeouts out of the pen. The bats were hot as well. They swept the doubleheader versus Emerson College, putting up 20 runs in that second game. Let's take a closer look at how they fared in some of the other games. Jeremy, I know you've been following them pretty close.
Yeah, I got 2 of my roommates, 2 of my best friends are on the baseball teams, Steve Scafani and Justin Mazovic. So I was monitoring the games because of that. And I really thought the offense clicked down in Florida. I mean, putting up 20 runs in a baseball game in a 7-inning game, nonetheless. I mean, that's absurd.
As you like to say, video game numbers.
Yeah, that's what I do when I'm with the show. So, but that's not supposed to happen. I think the offense really was clicking. I mean, the pitching was good, but in some cases walks and errors came back to bite them. But that's the name of the game. I think there was one game they had 11 errors.
11?
Yeah, 11. You're not going to win a baseball game having 11 errors. It's impossible. It doesn't matter how many runs you score, how many hits you get. You have 11 errors, you're not going to win the baseball game. But I really think the offense, which was my biggest concern for the team this year, I think the offense really showed up. And I mean, the loss against RIT. RIT is a really, really good team. I mean, losing 10-1, okay, you kind of chalk the game up as a loss before you even play it anyway. RIT is a really, really good program. But yeah, I think the offense is really good. And the pitching, it held its own for the most part, but it's tough when guys behind you are making errors and you're getting ground balls, you're throwing outs, but the plays aren't being made behind you, and it ultimately affects your final line as a pitcher. But I think, getting those first 7 games under their belt, walking out of there with a over 500 record, that's a big sigh of relief for this Pioneer team, being so young and with so many question marks coming to this year with the offense and who's the starting rotation, who's the first guy out of the bullpen. There's so many moving pieces. I really think going over 500 in Florida is a really big positive for them going forward.
Yeah, I think the Emerson games is a kind of a good confidence boost, if nothing else. I mean, obviously you see your offense able to put up a couple of runs. Emerson's, I don't think, is the greatest opponent to them to be like really confident against like tougher opponents. I actually have a friend that goes to Emerson. I was talking to his family, kind of how crazy it was that Utica was playing Emerson, and they didn't know Emerson had a baseball team. So, like, I still think it's good that they get to see. I mean, it doesn't matter who your opponent is. If your team's not able to put up runs, then you're not going to be able to win any games at all. So you're able to see guys are able to get opportunity, swing the bat, get out behind the plate, get across the plate. And that's kind of, if nothing else, a confidence boost.
I think it's funny you mentioned them not knowing Emerson had a baseball team, because that was the first team I reached out to in order to like try to play in college.
Really?
Yeah, it was Emerson, and it was in Boston. I'm like, oh, that's a good communication school. I was like, oh, that's cool. I'll go to Boston. Turned out it was too late, and they didn't have any roster spots left for my incoming freshman class. Thankfully not, because I'm here with you two handsome men. But yeah, Emerson, maybe it's a good thing I didn't go there, because I don't really want to get 20 runs put on my head. So.
Nah, it wouldn't be fun. But I think with the errors, I feel like this is a team that's really young. It's a lot of first-year starting guys, especially the pitching staff too. So I said this at the start of the season. I think this is a team that's going to take some time to kind of get their stripes under their belt to, figure their things out. I think this is a team that's going to be kind of a learning curve with them, a lot of new starters. But eventually, I do think late in the season they're going to figure things out and they can make a late postseason rush. We'll see how it goes for them.
I mean, you got to remember too, the conference is not that strong. I mean, obviously you bring in Brockport, you bring in Poly, and those are two very strong teams, but the bottom of the conference isn't strong. Teams like Elmira, Alfred, Cayuga, they're not as strong as, the Fishers, the Brockports, the Polys. So Utica's right in the middle of, the standings, and that's how I think the year's going to go for them. I really think they'll be right smack in the middle, going to make the tournament and hopefully go on a nice run in that tournament. But, I mean, this is a weaker conference, so kind of getting the mistakes out now is a good thing when they go play the conference games down the line.
Well, moving back towards basketball, after 25 years, Michelle Davis announced she would be resigning as the head coach of the women's basketball team. For Coach Davis, 25-year career, like we said, 303 wins all time. She won E8 Coach of the Year back in 2002-2003 season. She went to 2 NCAA tournaments and won 2 conference tournament championships for her, as you can see on the screen right here. 2-time champion back-to-back in 2007, 8, and then 9 and 10. So, great season, great accomplishment for her to be able to, resign from her career on a great spot. The team didn't have the best season this year, but overall a great successful career for her.
Definitely one of the most successful careers, I think, in terms of Utica basketball. I mean, when I first started calling games with you guys and kind of getting to know the programs that we kind of work with, Michelle Davis, one of the names that I kind of learned to memorize and knew most consistently. She was always there. Obviously had a lot of success with that team. She was able to do a lot of big things. So I think it's going to be a pretty big loss for the program, but definitely something we can look positively on and kind of what she's done for women's basketball in Utica.
Yeah, I mean, whenever any time there's a Utica legend that retires, steps down, I really think they deserve all the praise they get. And Michelle Davis, one of the greatest coaches I think in Utica history, and at least in our time here calling games and kind of seeing how teams are run here on campus. I really think that she's kind of been a staple, and congratulations to her on a great career and enjoy her retirement. I really think the program is going to have to really go digging for a coach that had the success and the ability to captivate a locker room like she did.
We also had an X Factor performance in the NCAA D3 Indoor Championships. Let's take a look. As it was Hunter Logan that was named an All-American after he placed 11th in nationals with his 16.51 meter throw. So for Hunter Logan, huge accomplishment for him, and yet again just dominating at the shot put.
Yeah, he's really, really good. I mean, you can say it every single week. I think he's been an X Factor before. Don't know why we couldn't get the graphic up, but whatever.
He's always an X Factor.
He's always the X Factor. I mean, you don't need to keep showing it over and over again.
That's true.
We say it every week and show it every single week. He's insane. I think he did something where this is the 4th time in a row where he's gotten an All-American, or I could be making that up, but he's been dominating ever since he's been in Utica. He's just a big guy. He's able to throw the ball, the shot put really, really far. It's just as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like we say his name every single week, like you mentioned.
Yeah.
This guy is always doing something that's a video game like, as we like to say. On the show.
That's your stuff, bro.
He's a massive human being. So, I mean, it's not crazy that he's consistently breaking these records. He's always down in the dome, either lifting, 1 million pounds, and throwing the shot put like 3,000 feet. It looks like he is Pat Mahomes, where he throws a shot put ball. It goes very far. You don't like that comparison?
I don't know if Pat Mahomes throws a shot put.
Well, I mean, like, the way he throws a shot put, it's like it goes far. Pat Mahomes throws the ball far.
It's not even just us saying his name. They're like, I go home and my parents aren't able to make it out to track meets a whole bunch, but they're just kind of reading about it and they know Hunter Logan's name. Like they're talking about him, being like, how is he doing this so consistently? He's just incredible. And again, I just probably say his name again next week. Or
Probably
2 weeks.
for outdoors. I mean, outdoors is coming up end of the month, so we're sure
we
Hunter Logan.
we should just leave that in the rundown. Like Hunter Logan did something cool.
Yeah,
again.
You can read about it someday.
We had another incredible performance from this time Jasmine Molina of women's wrestling. She traveled all the way to Iowa to compete in the NCWWC championships. Let's talk more about how she fared in that one. When you take a look at how Molina fared on Friday, she went 2-1 with 2 decision wins, and her only loss coming by a close 12-10 decision loss. And she won the first period of that match 7-3, so still a great performance by her at the national level. And then on Saturday, she only had one match, which she lost by tech fall at the 3:36-minute mark. So she finished the Nationals with a 3-2 overall record, and she played in a really tough bracket too, if you took a look at that bracket. But for her, an incredible accomplishment, especially to go above 500 at that level too.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. We talk about it. I think we said it maybe 2 weeks ago. It means it's a great honor that she's the first woman wrestler for you to go to Nationals and have such a good run. I mean, walking out of there with a positive record, I think that's just a monument in Utica history. I think that it's just going to bless you.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Sorry, man. I think it's going to be something that can help this program recruit more people from not only like the New York area but all over the states. And having in there, I believe first or second year as a program, having someone go to nationals in one of my favorite places in Iowa because I love my Hawkeyes. I think having someone go to Iowa and represent the school and the program and walk out of there with a positive record and really show what Utica women's wrestling is all about. I really think that's not only a positive for Jasmine herself, but something that the program can really take away and say, hey, we had someone accomplish this. Let's see how many other people can do this down the line.
Yeah, no, it's exciting. I mean, I've talked about it with gymnastics as well. 2 programs in Utica that are not super established. They're pretty new, but it's really cool to see that we've gotten to see these athletes kind of come in and make a name for themselves so early. I don't know a whole bunch about wrestling or gymnastics, but we've got obviously athletes that are making a name for themselves, and I want to learn more about both and watch, because I mean, if people from the same school I go to are dominating and making it to nationals, I want to be able to support that and watch that and be able to cheer for those guys.
Yeah, unfortunately, me and Jeremy won't be here next year due to us graduating, but you got a lot of time to watch Jasmine Molina.
You still better be rooting for Utica.
Oh, of course I'm rooting for Utica, but I'm saying
yeah.
you're going to be on this show talking about them every week, so you got a lot of time to watch how they fare next year. But now it's time for our favorite segment, everybody's favorite segment, the last segment of the show. Let's go around and give our picks for this week's upcoming games. Just the best graphic. Nico Leonard just amazes us. He's the best.
He's such a good guy. I love him.
All right, let's talk about, we've got a game.
What? It's a nice stash.
we got, what was the Cross playing today? They play SUNY Plattsburgh. Jeremy, what's your pick for that game?
Who do you got?
Who do I got? Hey, you go first. I'm not going to give you my picks.
Listen, I had a cousin. Well, I have a cousin. He's still around. I have a cousin. He was at SUNY Plattsburgh originally. He ended up transferring out. He played baseball there, but he transferred out. But shout out my boy Boat. I'm taking Plattsburgh. Go Cardinals.
I actually applied to SUNY Plattsburgh. I didn't know anything about SUNY Plattsburgh. I was applying to schools. I was going to college. I'm taking Platt. I don't know if anyone calls them Platt.
I really hope that's a really bad nickname. It sounds horrible.
I made that nickname up. I hope people call them that. I'm taking Plattsburgh. I was surprised by women's lacrosse in the last week. I didn't pick them to win, and then they ended up surprising me. So I hope they do it again. But I'm going to stay consistent with my pick from last time.
Well, I'm almost certain that Utica TV's own Laura Lewin attended SUNY Plattsburgh.
She did. That's a fact.
That's
she
a
did.
fact.
So shout out Laura.
Shout out Laura, but unfortunately, Laura, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to go with Utica.
Can you read anything on your board, dude?
Let's see.
What is that?
Utica. I'm going to try and clean up my board a little better.
Go get a new one.
But yeah, I'm going with the Pioneers. I think women's lacrosse is
horrible.
coming out today. It'll be me and Riley Calhoun on the broadcast.
It's a
So
good
I'm
call.
excited to
It's a
watch.
good duo on the call.
Excited to watch Utica get a big win. And then You two going to be on the baseball call today versus Skidmore. Give those folks listening a sneak preview. What do you got?
Well, today it's going to be a bit of a bullpen day for the Pioneers. Midweek non-conference opponent. With games against Sweeney Poly this weekend, I really think it's going to be kind of like a bullpen day. Get an opener and just kind of have everyone throw. It's not a game that you're necessarily like, okay, we need this game to go make the playoffs or anything like that. These are two teams that haven't seen each other since 2004, May 1st, 2004. I was just under 2 months old last time these teams played each other. Skidmore won. Utica does lead the all-time series, 11-8, but that moves to 11-9 today. Skidmore's gonna win. It's gonna be a close game, but sorry, Notar. Skidmore takes it today at Pioneer Field.
I turned my computer around for the last show, and I'm going to do it again because I opened the Utica Athletics website and I was greeted with this wonderful face. Our very own Justin Notar. I'm taking Utica. I think it's the home opener. The energy's going to be there. It's an exciting time. No one really expected to be playing baseball at this early in Utica with the weather. It was snowing a couple days ago. Now it's like 7 degrees outside, so it's kind of back and forth. But I think it's going to be an exciting day. I think I'm taking Utica baseball opposed to Jeremy's pick, where he's trying to be a hater to Pioneers baseball.
I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just trying to be realistic.
Exactly. It's all about getting that record. That's what matters the most. But there's 2 Kennedy Catholic weapons on this Skidmore team. For those that don't know, Kennedy Catholic high school I attended, they got Eddie Galveo as well as Nick Duryea on that squad. So I'm going to go with Skid in this one. You see, I cleaned up my board. Not Platt.
I got Skiddy Big Papa on my board. Shout out Big Papa. Nick Phillips, boy. Skiddy.
I think Skidmore's going to get the win, though. They've got the bats that I think are just going to be too much for the bullpen game.
Yeah, they have a guy that's batting. I'll give you the exact number. I was doing notes before.
Is it Nick Duryea?
No, Ewan Donald. Batting .429, 462 on base percentage, slugging .592. He's got a homer and 5 doubles, 16 RBIs. It's a tall task for whoever's pitching for the Pioneers today. Good luck. Don't give him anything to hit, or he'll probably hit it really good.
Good advice, Jerry.
That's a deep analysis.
I'd be a good coach.
We're going to keep the camera on you with this one. Now, men's lax is going to play Oneonta next week. What if Gavin Gretsch's best friend is on the team? So if that takes into account.
He's on what team?
He's on Oneonta. So if that's going to take into your, I just want to give you that before you give your pick.
Help him spell this kid's name right.
Steady analysis.
Listen, if Gavin knows anything, he knows how to pick teams to win.
He does.
And I'm going to take Gavin Gretsch's friend and Oneonta. Gavin, do not let me down because I will find you. And trust me, yo, bro, it ain't gonna be good.
Can't be that hard to find. He's tall.
He's a big dude. He's strong.
I said the opposite thing with the women's team. I was kind of sticking with my guts. I didn't pick them to win, and then they did end up winning. I'm gonna be confident in the men's lacrosse team. I'm taking the Pioneers. I think they're gonna take this one. I'm just trying to pick everything the opposite of what Jeremy picks. I think is the plan for this one.
I don't think we've agreed on
I think honestly it'd be better to take everything the opposit of me. You're just lucky that I go after you.
You were talking about we got to worry about the record. I don't know why we were trying to take any advice from you in terms of records.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm cooking today. This is gonna be my best day thus far. I'm going with Oni in this one. My board is not good.
I'm sorry, guys.
It's Oneonta. I'm picking the Red Dragons.
Oni?
Yeah, Oni.
I had a friend that used to go to Oneonta. He transferred after a semester. He's back home now.
They call it Oni?
Yeah,
no,
from what I've heard, they call it Oni.
I heard Stoney-Onta.
I don't know about that one. But yeah, Oneonta, Red Dragons, they're a very good lacrosse program. So I think they're going to get the win over the Pioneers. Pioneers played a tough game yesterday.
Can we get another National Geographic analogy with what animal would beat any other animal in a fight?
Well, a dragon would beat literally anything.
Anything?
So yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not Jeremy Horowitz, but.
Yeah, you're right.
All right.
Or Jason Huff.
Jason Huff. All right, sticking with lacrosse, the Mike Parnell game, men's lacrosse versus SUNY Canton. This Saturday, myself and Nick Phillips on the broadcast. Who are you going to pick?
Listen, Mike Parnell game, it's a big game. This Pioneer faithful is going to get up for. There's no you can't back the home crowd in Mike Parnell game. Got a big heart on my board. Utica wins. It's a really big day for the Pioneer fans, for the Utica lacrosse team as well. A lot of love on that day, and I really think that it's something that the Pioneers will really play for, and they'll come away with the win.
I don't know what jersey this is, but it's a Pioneer jersey, and that's all that matters. I'm taking Utica. It's the
and
Mike
Parnell's number 6.
Was he really?
Yes,
Perfect.
that's
Awesome.
Perfect.
Okay.
That is Nico Leonard's Senior Day gift jersey.
Well, Nico Leonard shouting out Mike Parnell. It's the Mike Parnell game. You can't lose this one. I think the Pioneers are going to take this one. If I had them taking the first one, I'm definitely having them take this game. I think the Pioneers are going to smoke this one.
I'm going to stick with you guys, too. I'm going Utica Moose. With this one, I'm taking the Pioneers. It's, a game that they're playing for something bigger than just a lacrosse game. They're playing for, Mike Parnell, the late great coach. So I'm sure they're going to be playing that within their mind. It's just going to be extra energy, extra motivation, and they're going to play a Canton team that I think that is very beatable. So I think Utica men's lacrosse is going to get a big win on Saturday. And then we've got more games on Saturday. Softball is going to play a doubleheader versus RPI, their home opener. Jeremy, what's your pick?
Well, I spoke to Taylor Kraft a couple days before break. I think the Thursday before spring break. I mean, they had a phenomenal conversation with her about her outlook on the season and how she thinks she's going to fare this year as well. This is a Pioneer team that lost official last year, and I believe the Empire 8 Championship. I think they know that they kind of keep the ball rolling this year. Brooke Beleza had a great Florida trip, really played well down there. So I think having her, contributing for the team this year, as well as the rest of the roster, I think that's really going to help propel this Pioneer softball team. Give me the Pioneers.
I don't know a whole lot about RPI softball, but I think I've got confidence in them. I know RPA has a really, really good athletic program. I know they're really good at hockey. I know they're really good at track and field. That's all about I know. Like you said, Pioneers coming off of a loss in the championship last year, so I'm going to take RPI. Not a whole lot of reasoning behind that one. It's just kind of what my gut's telling me, and if I'm kind of going off my same strategy I was going with my March Madness brackets, I'm going to trust my gut with a lot of these things. That's kind of what I'm doing with this one.
Well, I'm trying to test out markers to get my picks a little better for you guys. Here we go. Here's a good one. All right, here we go. I'm also going to go with the Engineers in this one. I'm going to go with RPI.
Yes, sweet. JB picked another thing that I don't have.
RPI is going to sweep. This is a Utica team that lost two of their best players, Frankie Luster, as well as Jennifer Rodriguez. So I think this is a team that's similar to the baseball team. You're going to be kind of transitioning, adjusting, and I think that RPI is going to get a sweep. I think they're a very good program, and they're going to get two big wins on Saturday. And then we got baseball. They're playing a 3-game series versus the Wildcats of SUNY Poly. Jeremy, let's see. What are your picks for all 3 games?
I'm going,
2 on Saturday, 1 on Monday.
I'm going game by game. Okay?
Game by game. Okay, here we go.
So I ultimately think that Poly will win the series. I think they win game 1. But game 2, it's tough to beat a team twice, especially in the same day on a doubleheader. I'm going to slide the Moose out of the way real quick. I'm going to slide my mug out of the way as well. When you have a guy that looks like that on this Pioneer baseball team, as handsome as he is, you're not getting swept. So I have Poly winning game 1, Utica winning game 2, and then Poly winning game 3. So Poly wins the series 2-1. A tough opponent. They actually beat the Pioneers twice last year, 2 non-conference games, and that was the first time Poly beat the Pioneers in, I believe, 19 years. And this is a Poly program which just continues to get better and better each year. So I think Poly's going to win the series, but Utica wins the middle game.
I'm taking 2-1 Poly. I think kind of what Jeremy said, kind of tough to win 2 games in a row, so I think Utica is going to get lucky and take one of them. We have a Band-Aid on his eye. I didn't even see that.
Yeah, JB broke.
In case you don't know, James Brown threw the Moose and broke his eye during our 4J's
for
game
Houghton,
day.
2 of all teams. For
yeah,
Houghton.
and they won the game. He was dissing the Pioneers.
Got smoked.
But I'm taking, anyway, back to baseball. I'm taking 2-1. Poly's going to take the first game. Utica's going to take the second game. I think Poly the next day is going to take, or on Monday, going to take game 3.
Yeah, I'm going to pick, this is definitely not going to be a sweep for either team. But I think the Pioneers are going to sweep games 1 and 2 on Saturday. I think the pitching is going to show up. They're going to have Austin Rhodes as well as Cooper Kanabe, I believe, pitching on Saturday. So 2 of their best pitchers. They're going to be too much for Poly, and I think the bats are going to get awoken. As you can see, I do have Poly winning that game to end the weekend. So I'm going to go with Utica to win the series 2-1, but Poly getting the last laugh on Monday. And then our final pick, the biggest game on campus, debatably all year. I'd say this is the game that has the highest stakes. It's going to be men's hockey in the second round of the NCAA tournament versus St. Norbert. Big pick, Jeremy. What's your pick?
I got to race on my board. I have so much writing on this thing.
So much.
Like we talked about it a little before. I mean, this is a fantastic program. The Pioneers matched up against, again, I believe, 5-time national champion. The coach, I think, like the most wins in Division III hockey history. Something along those lines. It don't matter. Like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson would say, it doesn't matter. Give me Gary Heenan and give me a Utica Pioneers.
Trusting my gut again. I did it last time with men's basketball. I wanted to take the team opposing the Pioneers, and I ended up being right. Unfortunately, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm taking St. Norbs. I don't know if you call them that. I'm going to make up nicknames. Like you said, I think it's a really historically good program, and the Pioneers, I'm going to say it's going to go to overtime. It's my specific prediction.
Wow.
I think it's going to overtime, and St. Norb's going to take it in overtime.
You might get extra points if it goes to overtime.
I should get like
record.
2 extra points. We can make that happen over there.
Yeah, this is a Utica team. Played with a lot of heart, a lot of fight all season, but this St. Norbert team, they're a powerhouse. 5 national championships. One of the best coaches in D3. I'm going to go with St. Norbert to win this game and upset the Pioneers at home. And I think their season's going to come to an end this Saturday.
Listen, this is the biggest game in Utica hockey potentially ever. You know what I mean? That's what we talked about a little bit before. This may be the biggest game that the Odd will ever host because the Comets aren't very good. Shout out Nico Leonard, your New Jersey Devils. Not good now either. But yeah, this is the biggest game that maybe ever played at the Odd, especially for the Pioneers in recent history. I think the team's really going to be up for this one, and when you have the energy edge, I think there's a shot. I mean, these are 2 great teams. But I think it'd be really cool to see Utica advance even deeper into the NCAA tournament.
It's going to be a fun game. You're on color
I'm
for
on
that
color
game with Greg
today,
Diggs?
so I'll probably say maybe 17 to 19 words.
Yeah, I get to be on the ice. I'm excited about
Yeah,
that.
that's cool.
That's
I'm jealous. That's
It's
cool.
going to be a great game. Make sure to tune into that one. But that'll just about do it here for us. Make sure you like and subscribe down below. We'll be here again next week with more insight on everything Utica sports. A lot to talk about next week, so you don't want to miss that episode. Thank you all for watching, and always remember to fear the moose.
I love JB.